The showreel is potentially one of the most necessary marketing tools for an actor, especially those that want to be employed in screen acting, as they can support the actor's claim to a job if they showcase material that is relevant and effective. Nancy Bishop is a casting director that states, "If I come across an unknown actor who looks interesting but who doesn't have a clip, I might move past them for another actor who shows me a sample of their work." I intended to do exactly that when selecting my material, sample work that would play to my strengths and tell casting directors how to cast me. This came with a problem. I wasn't totally aware of what my casting type was, nor what I wanted to be cast in. My primary research strategy then was to simply consume different forms of media so that I could inform myself of possible pathways. To alleviate time pressure, I started by researching other works of contacts from IMDb, contacts responsible for works that I'd seen earlier in my life. I watched trailers and appetizer material to try and get a feel for each production, however this came with its own issue. I still couldn't get a foundational understanding of each show and its characters. By proxy, I couldn't get attached to or excited about this material. Although it would be more time consuming, watching full pilots, series and films seemed as though it would yield more passionate results. I eventually came across Big Boys on Channel 4 and I was completely hooked. I ended up watching the full series, gaining a deep connection with each character, especially the quirks and awkward comedy of Jack Rook, and recognised a part of myself that I could bring to that character. I had to think carefully when selecting the relevant section to showcase my skills, and needed to prioritise getting my casting type across efficiently, as well as showcase how I react to conflict in a scene and how I shift dynamics. The filmmaker who produced the material is telling a story, I'm not. I'm advertising my brand. I decided to pick the first scene that Danny and Jack interact after Jack's mum has left. The scene had plenty of context, despite this being an initial meeting, to fuel emotional conflict, and the difference in the characters at this stage meant I could play with a number of tactics regarding how I interacted with him. This seemed to be sufficient material to allow me to bring a number of skills and show off my abilities to a viewing industry. As other people looked for material, some scripts were also sent my way so that I could be the partner in the scene. I use this as a passive opportunity to explore a wider range of scenes and perhaps discover others' opinions on how I might be cast. A classmate, Louise, sent over a script from Revolutionary Road, and while the scene was dynamic and very engaging to play, the age range and relationship was not really believable with either of us at this stage in our lives. Tom also sent over Ladhood as a general watch. It was rougher and comedic, and while the characters contrasted well with my other piece, there were not really particularly dynamic duologue scenes. The show relies more on a lads group dynamic. Eventually, Molly passed over a scene from Some Girls. The characters contrasted the Big Boy script and were age appropriate. The first scene has shifts and noticeable dynamics in my first read. It seemed like appropriate material to showcase the rougher style of characters I might portray. Perhaps I should have considered further the range that these two pieces would let me show. Yes, the characters contrast each other in personality, however both are comedy pieces set with characters that are still in education. In hindsight, it might have been better to further my range with a more mature environment and a character that is more prone to deep feeling, as I am also interested in that broad range also. I could have even more effectively presented contrasting skills with this consideration in mind.